I've got another great book review for you today. It's The Black Toad by Gemma Gary. It's this one. It's been sitting on my bookcase for a little while now, just waiting to be reviewed. So today's the day. Published in 2012 by Troy Books. It's by no means a thick book, but it's ram-packed with lots of information. The foreword was by Michael Howard. I'll quickly read a little bit for you. It says, historically, the West Country has always been a land of mystery, myth and magic. Gemma Gary's new book, The Black Toad, explores the magical aspect of the southwest of England and its reputation for witchcraft. It deals especially with Devon and Cornwall, which until the coming in of the Great Western Railway in the 1830s was a fairly remote area cut off from the rest of the country. In such conditions, superstition and popular belief in charms, curses, and the power of the witch survived long after it had been banished by the forces of rationalisation elsewhere. Even in the distant past, a belief in witchcraft, sorcery, and the power of the old pagan gods survived in the West Country for several hundreds of years after other parts of Britain had been converted into the new religion. Christianity was introduced into the region during the 4th and the 5th centuries. However, some parts of Cornwall remained pagan until at least the end of the 5th century, and perhaps even after. That's what a fab introduction. That makes you want to just read it. Okay, so there's your contents page. After your introductions is split up into three separate sections. Old Mother Red Cap, Old Mother Green Cap, and Old Mother Black Cap. So there's, just before we carry on, I just want to show you some of the images. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Got loads of these pictures. Oh, I believe these are some pictures from the Museum of Witchcraft down in Bowcastle in Cornwall. So let's take a look at Old Mother Redcap. I've got some notes, so if I keep looking down, that's why. Okay, so again, a little bit more reading, but it's worth it. Right. In old West Country belief, the rolling of great storms and thunder over the land is traditionally attributed to the power of the Old One. A power the witch is ever keen to imbibe of. Thus, during such occasions in Cornish tradition, whilst many might shut themselves in to await the return of calm and safety, the wise will instead throw open their doors and windows to invite the great potency of the old one. As the lightning flashes and the thunder claps and rumbles about the skies into their homes and into their work. It is power also associated with good fortune, is scarcely a thing to be cowered from. I think we've all experienced it when you've got lightning, thunder, a brilliant storm upon you. You feel powerful, don't you? You take the energy and push it forth. I do anyway. Numerous are the ways and tools via which the witches gathered and accumulated powers to therefore send forth. A particularly effectual exemplar from West Country, utilising a good number of traditional potent and virtuous components, is that practice that has come to be known as the witch's ladder. A fellow YouTuber, Samantha Valens, has recently did a video on the witch's ladder, so you ought to check that out. It's well worth a watch. The West Country practitioner will have a length of good cord or rope, not at all too great in thickness. Into this must be tied the feathers of crow and of goose, alternatively and at regular intervals. To the bottom of this tied is the whole hagstone, also known as wishing stone or whispering stone, and at the top of the rope is tied a loop. I'll give you an example of a hagstone that I found along one of the beaches here in Wales. That's a hagstone. It's a stone with naturally made holes. The wishing rope is either held in the hand or hung upon a nail in a beam. By either method, a vessel of coals upon which is set to burn substances of pertinent virtue is prepared and set directly beneath the wishing rope. The witch will then set the rope swinging to and fro through the rising smoke, and as they mutter their spell of influence, be it for good or for ill. So that's an example out of Old Mother Red Hat. And I'd like to go forward and take a look at Old Mother Green Cap now, which describes to us the virtues, amongst other things, the virtues of trees. Ivy. The strong ivy is of highly useful, restrictive, binding and protective virtue. The climbing ivy grown up the walls of cottages creates a verdant shell of protection around the home. Hazel. The hazel may be employed within rites and workings for wisdom, divination and dowsing. It is employed also within traditional curative rites against the bites of the adder and other stinging creatures. Okay, then it goes go forth to talk about bramble leaves, chamomile, elderberry. It says wort charming by wort. Gather fresh the ground salt and rub the juice of this upon each wart possessed by the patient. Hand this plant then to the patient, who is then to be instructed to throw it backwards over their head, and not to look back after it. Then shall the charmer bury the plant in the spot where it lands. As the groundsel does rot, so should the warts fade. The penny royal makes an elixir to be drunk for an enlivening of the spirit and against fatigue. Against rheumatism, a potato is to be obtained, and it must be one that has been stolen. This is to be kept on the person of the patient by carrying it in the pocket as a charm to ward against the pains of rheumatism. Then it discusses plant charms for animals. We've got that lovely picture again. Then we move forward to Old Mother Blackcap. An acceptance that the traditional magical practitioner is possessed of the ability to cure, to bless and to charm should quite naturally lead one to the conclusion that there is another side of the coin, and that such people are possessed also of the power, when necessity arises, to inflict magical harm and retaliation, or cursing, blasting and turning. Some have gone to great lengths to draw a clear distinction between the black and white practitioner, being exclusively a malevolent witch and distinct from the entirely benevolent wise woman and the cunning man, who work only to destroy the influence of the former. In some areas, such distinctions may have some accuracy, but here in the West Country, such distinctions are very difficult indeed to make. So here we go. Another great image. I love that one. It reads, the Parsley and Cursing Psalm. In West Country tradition, the parsley is quite possessed of an evil reputation. Thus it may be employed with magical workings of malefic intent. Within all such workings and rites, the parsley may be burnt while curses and words of malediction are uttered into the rising smoke as it issues forth. For punishment of an unfaithful lover. One must buy a new candle, and its price may not be haggled. Take the candle to the hearth with 3 pins. At midnight light the candle. Heat then the point of each pin within the flame before sticking them into the candle whilst uttering the words, "Thrice is the candle broke by me, and thrice thy heart shall broken be." So from here we can see where, for example, where we get candle spells from. You know, we're all aware of candle magic with the use of pins. So this gives examples of how it might have been used back in those days. Sorry if I'm spending a lot of time looking down at the book, it's because there's a lot to read and I've got some good bits here. Okay, this is discussing the witch's bottle. In West Country tradition, a number of devices may be made and rites performed against the Black Witch, employing pins, nails, and thorns. The victim of maleficia may have a bottle and gather together many pins. Whilst muttering of the ways into which the Black Witch is to suffer, the pins are dropped into the bottle until it's full. This device must be buried or installed in some secret place, preferably in the vicinity of the Black Witch herself, and there left. As the spinner's mass of pins rust, so shall the Black Witch fail in strength and health and become devoid of power. So this is where we get the beginnings of where wall water was used. I haven't got any wall water here at the moment to show you. But yeah, a simple jar filled with nails, thorns, pins. And I left mine outside overnight. It's been out in storm weather. Sorry, you fill it with water. You fill it. I've left it outside in storms. I've left it under the moonlight, and it's imbued with intent. This is where we get water from. Oh, here we go. Both the garlic and the onion have a long tradition of employment to provide protection against evil influences and powers, to inflict great pains and suffering upon the Black Witch, forcing her to lift her influence and rendering her magically impotent. An onion will be struck full of many pins. Throughout their inserting, mutterings shall be made over the device of the Black Witch's fate. The profusely pin-stuck onion, run through or affixed with black tatters or cord, is then to be hung in some out-of-way place within the home, and then left to its turning influence. In league with the devil. Interactions with spirit entities traditionally enjoyed in Cornwall and the West Country by ordinary folk and witches alike, such as the leaving of a penny on the table for payment for the pixies, or piskies as they would say in Cornwall, who will take it in exchange for cleaning of the house, or leaving water offerings to them before the hearthstone are widely known. However, there are far deeper and seemingly darker relationships of a numerous nature traditionally enjoyed by the West Country witch. As we have clearly seen, the true breed of Cornish and West Country witch is a practitioner of double ways, and by long-standing tradition, these twin powers to bless and blast are derived from the old one, of many names: Booker, Jew, Old Nick, and Devil but three. Even amongst the white practitioners consulted by ordinary folk for their wisdom and magical aid for all manner of requirements, there have always been those regarded as suspected as being witches of a deeper dye, those whose craft is empowered by their mysterious dealings, compacts, and regular conferences with the devil. The methods via which the traditional Cornish and West Country witch might make such compacts and enter consciously into the old craft vary from outwardly simple to rites of seemingly blasphemous nature, yet concealing mysteries of divine light. So this book it's got a wealth of information to offer. I can highly recommend this book. It's available primarily from Troy Books. I've not seen this on Amazon or anywhere like that. Thoroughly recommend it. It's really enjoyable read. this one's staying on my bookshelf forever now. So thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.